In the Bible, the right hand is the prominent one. It signifies approval, power, and authority. Okay, this is one of the things that we talked about in the book of Acts, and I'll bring it up right now just so that people understand that. Jesus is seated at the right hand of God. God does not have a hand, okay? It is a position of authority. He has all authority of God in heaven and earth. That is what that is saying. Okay, God does not have parts. We don't want to make mental images of God and say, okay, now I know that God is sitting way up high. He's got a big beard. Well, forget that. And he's, all of this. We don't want to do that. It is simply saying that Christ is at the seat of authority. All power belongs to him. In the Bible, the right hand is the prominent one. It signifies approval, power, and authority. In their eyes, Paul's apostolic ministry was fully qualified to receive this status. Barnabas is mentioned here because it was he who traveled with Paul and who helped establish the church in Galatia. Therefore, the message these two carried to them was fully sanctioned by the leaders of the church. They were to go to the Gentiles, while James, Cephas, and John would continue to evangelize the circumcised. Paul has carefully and methodically shown that his ministry was fully approved of by the very leaders of the church. Now, if you were to take sheer numbers, Paul's ministry was way, way, way more effective because he is still having an effect on billions of people throughout the past 2,000 years. Whereas Peter, James, and John went all to the Jews and nothing happened. But that is not their fault, and we never want to make a judgment on a ministry based on its size, okay? Jesus started out his ministry with 12 guys. It's gone around the whole world, okay? Who was it? Dwight Moody or somebody was going down to South Carolina to a church, and it was a rainy night, and he showed up, and there were just like 6 people in the church. And the pastor was so embarrassed. He says, I'm so sorry. He said, well, don't worry about it. Jesus started with a small thing, and it became great. He said, you take what you get. And sometimes you have a small ministry, and it's effective, and sometimes you have a big ministry. Think of out in Texas, and the guy has thousands and thousands of people. People watch him all over the world, and it is ineffective because he teaches heresy. He teaches that Jews are saved under the Torah, under obedience to the law of Moses. I don't care how many people he has. I don't care how much money he has made. His ministry is ineffective. As a matter of fact, it's contrary to effectiveness because he teaches heresy. So the numbers don't matter like that. And the point about Paul having a lot of people is because that is what God knew would happen. He knew that the Jews would reject him and that the ministry would go to the Gentiles. So,
how long was it? Was it an honor in Judson? How many years?
Oh, years and years with no fruit. No fruit at all. That's right. No fruit. Yeah. And eventually, today we remember him as one of the great missionaries of all time. That's right. So if this is true, then anyone who showed up afterwards with a different message could not claim that Paul's message was invalid. Okay, because they'd given the right hand of fellowship. He is building his case against the false apostles and their false message, which had come to infect the church at Galatia. This is so important for us to understand because this letter is included in the Bible. It is a portion of the record and witness concerning the ministry of Paul to the Gentile-led church. To dismiss Paul is to stand opposed to the doctrines of Jesus Christ himself.